What's going on, guys? It's been a while, but wanted to give you guys an update. Currently sitting here waiting for Hurricane Hillary to hit us, which has been all the rage lately in Southern California. If you guys don't know, we are based in Southern California, so I'm actually making this video kind of hoping that the power doesn't go out and showing you guys what's the latest with the city. But it's pretty funny because, there's been a whole bunch of speculation about what this storm is going to look like, and store shelves were cleared out of water and essentials yesterday. But so far, it's only been a light drizzle. So we'll see how it progresses over the coming hours. But so far, it has been nothing more than some rain showers. But anyway, a couple weeks ago, we posted on Instagram about potentially changing the city again. And the reason why we keep going through these changes is because, one, we're confined to a small space. So, after a while, it starts to just kind of get old and you want to mix things up. But also, we've been running with the Southern California, Miami skyline for a while now. And we thought it could be kind of fun to change things up and do a few different areas of the world, such as, the East Coast or maybe snow and mountains or something like that. So we posted these questions on Instagram. And if you don't follow us on Instagram, you should. But I'm going to run through what the responses were just so you guys can see kind of where everybody wants to see the direction of the city go. So the first one was that first question I posted, which was, do we keep the current city or do we see something new? And 2/3 of you guys, almost exactly, said, let's see something new, which to us means, okay, it's time to start brainstorming. So then we asked, if we were to do something new and we look at some new themes, what would be your favorites? And an overwhelming majority of you guys said the East Coast or New York. Then we also had snow and mountains as a close second. You guys still want to see some Miami and SoCal, and then a small number of you wanted to see micro scale, which I get isn't super popular, but we do love it. The next was, okay, so do we create, 4 or 5 mini areas, or do we just create one large city? And this one was a little bit closer, but a lot of you guys said, love the idea of multiple areas. And we were also curious between, a huge airport, train layout, or military, which one was your favorite? And, we were surprised by this, but 45% of you guys said train layout, and then number 2 was a huge airport with only 20% saying military. We were also curious, do you guys like, lots of buildings or lots of open space and, roads and whatnot? And this one was kind of mixed, but, half of you guys want lots of buildings, whereas the other half were kind of split between, a proper city grid or doing more open space with parks, beaches, farms, etc. So we'll keep that in mind. And then the last question was, since you guys do want to see a lot of buildings, what's your favorite type? And a lot of you guys said custom modulars, which I was a little surprised about. I thought, skyscrapers would be the winner, and it kind of took the lead initially, but then custom modulars came through. So we'll have to keep that in mind when we're redesigning everything, but just thought those findings were interesting. So with those in mind, here is kind of what we are thinking. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, this is Adobe Illustrator, which is what we use to do all of our layouts, which I'll show you guys in a second. So this is essentially our garage, which is where our studio is currently. And if I turn back on that layer, this is the layout that we've been playing around with. So these are our cars. I know it's super detailed, but anyway, the purple bins are those Acro Mill drawers that you guys see on the walls. So you can see the walk-in closet right here with the Acro Mills all attached to the walls here. And then we also have that other section in the back. These are our trash cans, which you guys don't see because we have that white wall put up, the temporary wall. And then over here is where the airport used to be. This is that large table with the green space. And then if you're looking at the city, as it sits right now, it basically goes along this whole back wall with the airport down here, downtown over here, and kind of the beach down through the middle. Now, to give you guys a sense of scale, each one of these green tables is 2 feet by 4 feet. And so you can kind of see the walkways are about 2.5 feet. And the idea here is to basically, rather than having one large city, to basically break it up like you guys asked for. So down here is where we would keep kind of the Miami SoCal feel. These dark gray rectangles are those IKEA Alex drawers. And that's currently where the beach sits because it's a lower elevation than the tables. And the reason why these are transparent is just to show you kind of below how those would line up, and then below would be storage. But essentially, there'd be like a downtown core over here with beach and then kind of like a small beach town over here. Obviously, this whole thing would be condensed, so we'd be cutting out some existing buildings and then kind of picking and choosing our favorites to keep. Over here is where we're thinking for kind of the New York East Coast look. Since New York, it technically is half saltwater, half freshwater. They have the river. We're kind of thinking just sticking with the river out front and then kind of the New York downtown in the back. It probably won't be like massive skyscrapers, but we thought, something kind of like mid-height would be pretty interesting. We do have room for one more Alex drawer over here, so I'm not sure what we would do with that quite yet. And then over here is the crossing into the snow area, and this is where we're thinking for the mountains. We would then probably move the airport back over here where it used to be and rebuild that whole area. I think we would get rid of the side streets and just make a longer airport like we have now. Now, one alternative that we are considering is, let me turn this layer on because we just wanted to see how it would work, but we could theoretically have the downtown Miami SoCal area down here with a bridge over to the airport and keep the airport kind of in the middle, put the snow area over here, and then put New York over here, kind of the New York East Coast. I think we're leaning more towards the first version that I talked about with New York going right here, but that's something that we're kind of weighing. You guys can see just how many variations we've played around with, and honestly, we have 2 other documents with even more. So definitely a lot of options, and we're trying to weigh kind of the pros and cons of each one. On top of that, Miss AFOL TV and I are getting married in a month and a half, so that's also why we haven't been posting very much and why we've been very busy with other activities. But switching gears, I want to show you guys the state of the city now. So as you can see, it is still somewhat of a mess and still somewhat similar to when we last showed you guys with the airport terminal expansion. We did recently pick up the giant Lego minifig set. Really cool set if you guys haven't picked this up yet, and we really like the details at the top. And, the functionality of it's really impressive as well. The arms and legs move. So highly recommend if you haven't picked that one up yet. But anyway, here's the city. And guys, again, we've been really busy with the wedding planning, so there hasn't been a lot of updates, and apologies for that. After the wedding, I think, is when we're going to start doing all this new moving around and shifting everything. And there's going to be a ton of content coming after that. But on top of that, we've also been going through a lot of our bulk brick, trying to get organized, and we're also, taking things apart, like old beach segments that are no longer in the city, and just trying to get organized in general, especially before we move everything around. And if I pan over here, you can see we have like trash and then old base plates that have now been taken apart. And then over here is still a mess and work in progress as well. Also, apologies if you can hear the rain in the background. It is finally starting to pick up. But anyway, guys, we're really excited for the future of the city and what all could be. I think there's still some planning that needs to happen in the background, but we wanted to give you guys at least an update of what has been going on, just so, we're not absent from YouTube. But we plan to come back with a ton of new content, especially after the wedding. And we can't wait to share with you guys what we have planned. So thanks again for being a subscriber. If you're not already, please consider doing so. And be sure to check us out on Instagram because we may post additional updates along the way before we get to the YouTube videos. So that's it for today. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.